How's it going, everybody, and welcome to the next installment of One Deck, One Month. This time, if you haven't already guessed, we are playing Pure Mech Knight, and if you also caught the tail end of last week's episode, the last episode with Speedroids, I did say what deck we were going to be playing for this month. End of October into about the middle of November, I would say, we'll be playing Pure Mech Knights. And I gotta say, I'm excited for this one because, you know, Mech Knight, Pure Mech Knight, I feel like is one of my best decks in terms of, like, performance. I've done very well with it in past locals mega tournaments. I think I've won one, and I also think maybe got second in the other. So very, very good performance. I also took it to a YCS Niagara 2019, did pretty well there with it. And I've also taken it to a OTS as well. And I've had a lot of fun playing this deck, a lot of good competitive exposure with the deck, and like I said, I'm feeling very, very confident. But unfortunately, here comes the bad news part of this video. I apparently yeeted and deleted all of the footage that I had recorded Saturday prior to going to locals. I did do a live premiere for a very, very special video where I opened 4 sealed blister packs of Dark Revelation 2 that my dad apparently just found lying around at his house after 15 years. And I gotta say, the contents of those packs were nuts. I was not expecting it. Not only did we get 2 ultra rares in this pack opening, but one of the ultra rares was Dark Magician of Chaos, and this card is extremely rare from Dark Rev 2. As you can see the price there. I did actually send it out to get graded, and that will be a separate video, but who would have thought that this card was sitting in that pack for all those years? So thanks to everybody that showed up to that premiere. I did record some footage of you guys saying hi in the chat for the vlog, but it's gone. And it actually was the first ever DMOC poll from DR2 on YouTube, so that was like a huge thing. And if you guys haven't seen this video, go check it out if you want to hear my reaction. It was pretty insane. And I believe I had also talked about on Tuesday before I went to locals that I was very, very rusty and I didn't have much time to throw a build together. And in fact, the build was very, very last minute. So last minute that I was almost late to show up to locals because I was stuck home trying to throw together a main deck and a side deck, and it was okay. We certainly winged it for our first locals with Mech Knights, but then again, I was just kind of relying on my overall knowledge and confidence with the deck to kind of just blow over that fact that we didn't have the best build put together. And so yeah, with all that out on the table, we can go ahead and now go back in time to Tuesday when we're about to head out to locals for the first time with Pure Mech Knights with a very last minute build, albeit. And let's go ahead and get to that. And then everything else from there on should be in chronological order. Alright, so I wanted to update you guys after round 1. I gotta say, the build is okay. It'll work for today, I think, but it definitely needs to be tweaked a little bit. The side deck also is definitely gonna need to be tweaked. I'm very rusty with Mech Knights. It's been several months since I've played Mech Knights exclusively, and it might show today. So I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the rounds go. Alright, before we do the tournament report, I want to go ahead and give a few post-tournament thoughts. You guys heard me say earlier that I'm definitely a little rusty with Mech Knights, and it shows. It definitely shows. Although, overall, I did make some minor misplays. Maybe I'll find more when I go over the matches, but a lot of bricks tonight, a lot of them. And a lot of unexpected decks to play against. But again, we'll go over that in more detail in the tournament report. But I think going forward, at least for maybe in the next few locals or so, we're definitely going to stick with the going second build. But there is an idea that I've had when it comes to Mech Knights, and that's to always, I've always really wanted to build and implement and actually play a solid going first list of pure Mekk Knight. I guess it wouldn't be so much pure, but a going first list that doesn't play Invoke because I absolutely despise the engine. Hate me for that or not, whatever. I just do not like that engine paired with Mekk Knights. I think if you're going to play an engine with Invoked, it should be Dogmatica, but again, I digress. On stream the other day, I stream on Twitch every Sunday and Monday, by the way, link below. I spent the whole stream trying to theory craft and come up with a very interesting and unique build of going first Mekk Knight that didn't even play Gear Suit, because I still think it doesn't need Gear Suit. And that idea is basically inspired by some OCG lists I remember hearing about a long time ago that were playing Sangan in the main deck. To be able to normal summon, make Al Mirage, search a hand trap for next turn, and get you basically half of a column going first. Because I still want to find an engine that solves Mekk Knight's problem of going first. Because Mekk Knight, we know, can just inherently play going second. But going first is obviously where it struggles. There are ways to fix that, maybe going, into games 2 and 3 with the sideboard, but inherently, just overall fixing that problem within the main deck, whether it be a Phantom Knight engine, Sangan with Tour Guide, I'm not sure. We're going to take a little more time with that. And don't be surprised if you see us test that, because I've tried going second pure Mekk Knight forever. I know I love it. I think it's fantastic, but I can't get any more value out of that when it comes to making Mekk Knight as a whole better. So we got to try something different. And now is the perfect time to try it and document that process. But those are just the post locals thoughts. It's only our first locals. Saturday is obviously in a few days, so we've got actually some time to prepare now, after just winging it essentially with that last minute build. But another thing, unrelated, I was actually able to pick up some Pokemon cards, some old school Pokemon cards from my locals, sort of continuing on this idea of collecting old school stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. You guys may have seen in older videos, I've been, collecting more and more Pokemon cards, so I'm just adding to my collection. Got that Kingdra from Neo Genesis, one of my favorite sets in Pokemon, because that is the set that Lugia comes in, which is my favorite Pokemon. And also got a base set Mewtwo. It's unlimited, but still very, very cool to have. And also picked up the Southern Islands Mew. Again, all these cards aren't in that great a condition, but what I paid for them, they're already worth more out of the gate than what I paid for them, which is pretty awesome. And they'll only get more valuable as time goes on. So hold on to your old stuff, because you never know. The TCG market in the past few years for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has only just gone up and up, and I think it'll continue to go up. So gonna add these to the collection, and right now I'm just gonna eat some food and watch Pokemon 2000, because I haven't watched that movie in so long. So we're just gonna chill out for the rest of the night, and then we'll probably do that tournament report tomorrow. Alright everybody, welcome to the Tuesday tournament report. I'm going to try to keep this as condensed as I possibly can so we can save more time at the end of the video for the Saturday tournament report. But we played against Dino round 1. This is a deck that I have very mixed feelings about, and I was feeling a little uncomfortable going into this, knowing that I was going to have to blind second against Dino, as our opponent always plays Dino. Kind of known for playing Dino in our area, even got the Dino-themed playmat. So we do win die roll. We do get to go second. He does still end on the barrier statue with UCT, and I believe, the whole Simorg route. Through very weird means, he does actually have to slumber us during his turn by clearing one of his own monsters. So he does give us a Gamma Seal, which we can use as a head start to sort of out that, wind barrier statue lock. And so what do? Obviously, we force the battle phase, clear the barrier statue. He does let it go through, and we're able to start off strong with a copy of Gearsu. Unfortunately, our Gearsu is met with an impermanence, but we do have a copy of World Legacy's Memory to follow up, and on activation, he does chain his UCT, which I thought was a little strange because our purple still comes out in face-up defense position in order for us to use its effects still, and we do search, I believe, a Blue Sky or a Gearsu, but I sort of misplaced my Gearsu. I put it in the same column in one of his other monsters, and, hindsight's 2020, if I would have put it there, I would have had a spot to summon another Mekk Knight, but I just sort of goofed up on that end. We still had his set Gamma Seal on our field, taking up a slot as well, so that was kind of a little annoying to play around. And we did have a copy of World Legacy Succession in hand, which we weren't really able to use at all. So we did have to set one and just pass from there. So on his next turn, he's able to drop another UCT onto his field, and luckily for us, he's not able to quite OTK. But we are very, very low on life points, but we do have a chance to come back. So obviously Purple Nightfall comes back, and we threaten our first move as a blue sky play in the same column as one of his UCTs. He tries to activate it, and we chain a Forbidden Droplet, discard an Indigo and another copy of blue to negate both of their effects and have them. And we're pretty much able to assemble a really good board there. Not quite OTK, but make a board he's not able to break next turn, and we take that game. So in game 2, as you might have expected, he does make us go first. We do end on just a Mekk Knight Morningstar, a blue sky, and a set trap trick. Unfortunately for us, during his turn, he does have an Ash for the Sanctum. I was trying to go for possibly Lancia, but again, he did have the Ash for it. And he's still able to put up a massive field and OTK us, and we don't really have a chance to come back. And next turn, he is able to put up double UCT with Dolka and Nightmare Cerberus, and he just OTKs us outright, unfortunately. He also did have a Kaiju for our Morningstar, so that hurt as well, so we have to move into game 3. And game 3 is a pretty sad story because he does go first, because again, I'm hoping I'll open some side deck cards, see a card like Droplet, Lightning Storm, Triple Tactics Talent, you know, see one of those cards in my deck. Nope, not good enough apparently, because he's able to end on that full Wind Barrier Statue lock, and we lose. Now in round 2, we played against Necroz, and we are maining Droll at this point, and he starts his turn by pitching Bryo, and I do hit him with the Droll on Resolution. He is able to put up a Unicorn for pretty much no effect because Mekk Knights can play around Unicorn very, very easily, but we start with the Girsu into Blue Sky, pretty much go through Lib, Morningstar, get to Avermax, spin his cards back, and set on some really powerful back row that he's not able to get through the next turn either, so we take game 1 pretty quickly. Game 2, he does make the correct play in making us go first, but luckily for us, we have a very productive going first turn this time around. We're able to get to Avermax with, I believe, maybe a set memory and a set secret. He starts with Kaleidoscope, sends Entis, pops the secret, which causes us to lose a bit of steam. Then he's able to get Unicorn on field to negate the Avermax, summon a Bryo, spin it back, and then he goes to battle phase. And that set memory we have does come in clutch in the battle phase because we're able to block all of his attacks with that 2500 defense Blue Sky. And I did go for Blue Sky because strategically in the end phase, it's going to bounce back to our hand for us to use next turn. So next turn, I do top deck Lightning Storm, which is pretty great because he does have 2 monsters and 1 set back row, but I forget about my Purple Nightfall coming back, so we go ahead and recorrect the game state because I technically still would have been able to Lightning Storm him that turn. I just would have had to use Purple first, but he does use his Dogmatica Punishment to get Titaniclad to the grave to clear the purple. I'm still able to fire off the Lightning Storm, but at the end of the day, I sort of lose out on that purple search, and he does get his Titaniclad search in the end phase as well. So this game kind of grinds out a little bit. It was a nice back and forth game, and I'm able to actually at some point finally establish a column to summon that Blue Sky, and I'm able just to go off and to do all sorts of Mekk Knight plays. At one point I do have a Morningstar with 3 set back row. It's not quite enough, but on that following turn I believe we're able to secure a game with just a lot of big Mekk Knight monsters, and that's really all we needed to do. So we take that match 2-1, and we move into round 3. Round 3, I played what has to be one of the most infuriating decks I've ever played against in a long time, and it's just Dragoon Turbo, like not even Veritanic, just Dragoon with Buster Blader stuff. That's what this deck does, and you know, game 1, he is able to pull off the Dragoon with the Buster Lock, summons out the Buster Fusion and the Synchro, which turns all my stuff dragons and negates them and turns them to defense. And I did have Lightning Storm, I did have Droplet, it just was not enough because the rest of my hand could not carry us to victory in game 1, so we lose very quick in game 1, and we head to game 2. Game 2 rolls around, and I have to start my turn with memory, and that's how you know the turn is going to be pretty lackluster, because yes, you can get to purple, and you can get to Girsu, but you cannot use its most powerful effect, which is to summon the tokens. We do get to the Girsu. He does have Imperm for its effect, so I'm forced to just set 2 and pass, one of those cards being a Sanctum. Now I am able to shotgun this Sanctum to turn off a Red Eyes Fusion, luckily, and he's not able to do much for the rest of his turn. I do try to end phase a memory, and he does have the Ash for it, but luckily for us, I still got a Purple Nightfall coming back in our standby phase. And from there, we're able just to straight up swarm the field with a bunch of Mech Knights and just OTK. Now, game 3 rolls around, and my opponent does get choice, of course, to go first, and go first he does. He does end on the Dragoon with that set prologue, and he is able to go to Dragoon for that Buster Blade or Destruction Swordsman fusion and that Buster Dragon. Now, I do have a pretty decent hand, luckily. I do start with cards like Girsu and Memory. Luckily, my purple is able to go through, but he stops the Girsu, which is great because I'm able to make use of a triple tactics talent. Now I have a few options. I either take the Girsu, which is going to end up being negated as soon as it hits my field by his Buster Blader stuff, like the Fusion and the Synchro. So that's not really an option. My only other option is to try to draw 2 cards and hope I draw Forbidden Droplet, and spoiler alert, I didn't. So we just lose. And in the last round, we played against Heroes, and we lost die roll, and he actually made us go first because his deck does want to go second. Luckily for us, his first turn isn't too crazy because ours was literally just set to and pass, and if he had enough to OTK through a memory, he was going to do it. But he does just end on absolute 0, and I don't even think he actually attacked us, so just bonus points for us. But we do have to be a little bit careful because when that absolute 0 leaves the field, he can destroy all monsters, I believe, on the field or that we control. But we're able to start with a Girsu. He does have some resistance for us in the form of Imperm and Ash. That fuels basically our triple tactics talent to draw into more cards, and then from there we start swarming the field with more Mech Knights. And at this point, I know I have really only one way to correctly play around this absolute 0, and that is to get to Galatea through Girsu and get to Ding Girsu to send it, and then eventually when that effect activates to destroy everything, we'll just attach to protect all of our monsters. And we swing in for a little bit of damage with both the Indigo and the Ding Girsu. We do follow up by going into a Morning Star to set up a pretty powerful board with both Secrets and Whispers. And on his turn, he starts with the Hero Lives, we negate it with Whispers, and we pretty much take the game from there. So in game 2, I think I opened one of the worst possible hands I've opened with this deck in a long time. It was like double Valor, and some other cards, I think like a triple tactics talent, but just nothing really useful. And again, he is playing a going second deck, so not putting up a board at all is very, very scary. He does start, though, however, with a copy of a Hero Lives that summons out Blazeman. I do have the Valor for that. Then I think he goes like Solid Soldier into Stratos. I negate the Stratos with another Valor. He then links into Dread Decimator and then has the Hard Neos Fusion in his hand to summon out the Rainbow Neos and drops us down to 300, I believe, or something close to game. And we just have literally one turn to try to make a comeback. And for turn, unfortunately, I don't draw anything, and my set Scythe that I opened isn't doing me any good either. So we lose and we go to game 3. Now, we fast forward a little bit through game 3, and he basically ends on 4 fusions. Like, he basically just wanted to put a bunch of fusions on field like he was going second. Kind of like, if you break my board, you do. If you don't, then I just OTK next turn. So we had to play through a Malicious Bane, a Dark Law, a Divine Blast, and a Rainbow Neos. And the Divine Blast was actually kind of interesting because it does have the ability to bounce a spell or trap back by paying 500 as a quick effect. So I knew I had to clear that card off the field before we ended our turn, or he could possibly, spin back one of our, good World Legacy spells or traps like Memory, Secrets, or Whispers. The Dark Law, of course, is already starting off to be a huge problem, and the Malicious Bane is just going to be hard to get over. But luckily for us, we start with Girsu, summon the token. We don't send anything, obviously, because of Dark Law. We follow that up with a World Legacy's Memory to go for Purple Nightfall. And then we actually put an Indigo on the field to be able to crash with his Dark Law and keep going. And then we eventually make a Morning Star, pitch the Gauntlet that was in our hand to search a copy of Secrets. We summon a Blue Sky, get another search, use Succession to bring back Indigo. Then we follow up into an Avermac. So we pretty much end our turn with having cleared the 2 most problematic cards, and that is the Divine Blast and the Dark Law. And we're not able to clear everything else, but we still have Avermax with Indigo and a set Secret with a Mech Knight target engraved. Now on his turn, he does start with Stratos, and he actually summons it in the same column as our Indigo, so that leaves me free to basically summon this Red Moon from my graveyard off the Secrets to wherever I want it. I know Malicious Bane does have a board wipe effect that it can use every turn on their turn only, so I just straight up put that Red Moon right in the column that Malicious Bane was in, so we wouldn't have to worry about the field nuke effect this turn. He then tries to use Rainbow Neos' effect. We slide the Indigo over to to negate that. And then he attacks into the Avermax with this Rainbow Neos, doesn't realize what its effect does, and takes 3,000. And that pretty much concludes game 3 right there, and we're able to take it 2-1. So a very, very rough start this week, going 2-2. We definitely have to go back to the drawing board, and hopefully we can redeem ourselves come Saturday. So I did get this really cool hollow Lugia. It isn't worth a ton, but I really love the artwork and really like that hollow foiling on it. I was also able to get this really cool Delta Species Deoxys, which is a very, very cool looking card, and I love Deoxys, another one of my absolute favorites. And the last thing I picked up was this bad boy right here. This is a Charizard from XY Evolutions. Picked it up for about 120. I know that might sound insane, but these bad boys, light plate and near mint, go anywhere between like 120 to 160. So yeah, really happy to have this guy in my collection. It's the OG artwork, and thank you to my friend Adam for hooking me up with this at a decent price. So yeah, tomorrow's local, so we'll see what happens. Welcome everybody to a very cold Saturday afternoon. It's about 45 degrees, about 4:15, and I would like to be leaving within the next hour or so, I should say. And there's a few things I want to do. I want to just talk quickly about, I did say I went to go test with some friends last night, and I did. I didn't get to do as much testing as I wanted this time around, but I think I do definitely want to bump up the hand trap count for sure. Forbidden Droplet is working great, and so is Triple Tactics Talent and Lightning Storm. Those same 8 power spells that were in Speedroid. I mean, it seems to be a pretty decent ratio into, into pure Mech Knights. If anything, I might actually drop the Lightning Storms and put in a copy of Raigeki and Harpy's Feather Duster, because I did actually have to proxy all of those cards because I left them here in my Speedroid deck, and I had to use 2 Raigekis as my Lightning Storm proxies. And it made me think in a couple instances how nice it would have actually been to have a Raigeki instead of a Lightning Storm. But then again, I guess there are some situations where having that, option to either destroy back row or monsters is a nice sort of luxury to have. But I do also want to try, like I said, this time around, to try to fix those problems that Mech Knight has inherently going first. I did only play going second games yesterday. There were some mild inconsistencies, but I do want to actually maybe try adding in Tour Guide to the main deck, 2 copies with 1 Sangan. I think that's what I'm going to try today, and maybe some other stuff as well, like a Cherubini and a PK Boots and a Fog Blade. There's a very nice going first engine. The side deck is going to need some work as well. So I'm going to spend about the next hour or so maybe just doing some deck building, and then we'll just be heading out. All right, we are here at Locals. It is about 5:50 or so. Locals will be starting in about 40 minutes. I want to play the Sangan engine in our build, and I had to ask a friend if they could find me a Mech Knight Orange Sunset. Luckily we did, because we can search that with Sangan. So I'm just experimenting tonight because I didn't get a chance to really test it last night outside of a tournament setting. So we're just going to use the first Saturday Locals as sort of like a dry run with this build. And we'll see how it goes. I really feel like it has a lot of potential, but then again, maybe it'll just be really bad, but only time will tell. That's where we're working with right there. You can see that.
Okay. Got you.
Magic. Last pack magic.
Last pack magic, baby.
Pokeball.
Pokemon. Vulpix. Again,
Professor's research.
Rev Hollow Arbor. Your pulls are nuts. You get something? Oh, no way! On camera! On camera! Get that shit, get that shit, get that shit to sleep. Get that shit to sleep. He's nuts, I didn't get shit. He's nuts. My fucking dude. Let's go.
Yo, how much
My boy. $1 million.
So yeah, that was a pretty crazy end to locals there. Yeah, I was not expecting that, to be honest. To have pulled this card and that Dark Magician of Chaos all in the same week, it's still just mind-boggling to me. This is a card that ever since I've known of its existence, that I thought it would be so incredibly awesome to pull from a pack. And we did that right at my local store, opening some packs with my friend Adam. Like, couldn't have went better if you ask me. So definitely plan to get this graded and to keep it in my collection for a long time. So round one, I played against that same Red Eyes Dragoon Buster Blader deck that we played on Tuesday. This time around, luckily, we had a bit more success. So game one, I do win the die roll and opt to go second. He starts with Red Eyes Insight to grab the fusion. Makes Dragoon and passes. I'm able to grind out to the point where I have a ding up with a indigo and a secret. He's not able to keep up in said grind. So I think one of the things that might have happened in that particular matchup, oh no, that happened in a later game. But I do remember particularly in that point being able to get to Dingirsu and also to an indigo. And that was like, we had like a pretty strong hold setup. He really wasn't like in a super losing position. I was up in life points though, and we just had a really good setup that he couldn't get through. So we did take him to game two, and basically all I've written here is all that I can recall is that I have a weak going first opening and I'm left top decking, and he's able to beat me down. Yeah, I think one of the things that did happen is I did draw that boots that I was playing, that Phantom Knight boots. I think I linked that into Almirage to get Fog Blade, set the Fog Blade, and I think during my turn I might have Fog Bladed my own Almirage, but I think he had like a Cosmic or something for the Fog Blade, so really wasn't anything we could do about that on that end. And then we just go to game three. We're in a game three situation here, and I get to go first, because I do not want to have to try to play through that board of Dragoon with Destruction Swordsman and Buster Dragon. It's just a nightmare to deal with, and I need to open a lot of side deck cards to deal with it properly. But I go first, and then Morningstar with Sanctum, and I also am able to, at some point, make a play where I am able to resolve successfully a Triple Tactics talent to steal his Dragoon, and we use that to make a Morningstar because I really had no other way to get rid of it. And that's one thing I'm really glad about, you know, being able to play a deck like Mekk Knight as opposed to Speedroids. Obviously, the Speedroid link is really good. It takes 2 wins. But the thing about Morningstar is it's just 2+ monsters, including a Mekk Knight. So that makes talents really, really good because we can just turn anything we take from our opponent with talents into a Morningstar potentially. But then we just go into sort of another grind game against this deck because he is able to still like pull off the Destruction Sword play, but he's only able to get access to, I believe, just the Synchro. He doesn't have the extra follow-up trap engraved to get to the fusion, so it's not as bad. But we end up going into Ding again with a purple and our field spell because I was getting a little overzealous. I was thinking like time was pretty close to being called. He had not many life points left. So I searched the Mekk Knight field spell, play that to make purple 28, and I attack over his Buster Whelp, I believe after I had hit it with an Impermanence. Yeah, because I ended up cutting Droplet this time around for Impermanence, and I'm kind of glad I actually made that decision, just because, like, the discard outlet, it's good sometimes, but it can be too hefty of a cost. But I ended up imperming that Buster Whelp, and I think I attacked over it for 23. I think it was like a 300 attack card, so maybe 25 we attacked, and I dropped down to like 300. And after that, he scoops anyways. And then time is really close to being called. So we do actually take it in a very grindy game 3 situation there. Round 2, we played against Medolce Dogmatica, a deck that I've had a pretty tough time going against playing against Speedroids. But that's only because his build with Medolce Dogmatica is a very going second heavy oriented deck. Yes, it can go first inherently because of the Dogmatica stuff, and some of the Medolce stuff can help to play going first. But, you know, the blind second Speedroid strategy really helped against it, and then the same thing, of course, happened, you know, going the blind second route with Mekk Knight, because he's probably used to, you know, his opponents always wanting him to go, you know, second to begin with, because a lot of decks this format really do want to go first, so he just always gets that leg up advantage, but we're actually fighting for that going second, you know, ability. We win the die roll, though, luckily. He ends on Maximus with the Medolce Palooza, or the Promenade, I think, and Imperm and a Ticket, and I know he has Fleur-de-Lis in hand. I start with the Girsu, send the Cup to the graveyard, summon a token, make Lib, attempt to activate effect to set a card. He does use the Promenade there to shuffle one back to negate the Lib. Then we follow up that into Morningstar. We go Chainlink 1 Morningstar, Chainlink 2 Lib Engrave. He does have the Imperm this time around for that of the Morningstar. And then I'm able to spin the Maximus, so that turns off the Fleur-de-Lis in his hand, luckily. We summon purple, because we did discard a purple off the Morningstar, so maybe he was thinking we didn't have a play after that, but we did open 2 purple. So I summon the purple, tag him out for blue. Blue goes off for 2 because of the Ticket and one of his Medolce monsters. And then we end on Avermax with a few back row, and he just scoops up right then and there. We go to game 2, where I go first on a Morningstar with Set Sanctum and Secrets after starting with the Tour Guide play in Sangan, and that play was really nice because we were able to search orange, summon that to the board. It was super helpful. The only thing that, you know, stopped it from being even better is that we hard drew Boot, so we weren't able to get that additional Fog Blade off the Cherubini, which actually would have been very, very relevant looking back, because if we would have had one more interruption for his play, his turn would have ended much quickly, or much, you know, quicker. So he basically starts his turn with Extravagance, commits a normal summon to one of his Medolce monsters. I forget which one it is. It might have been Mageline. I can't remember exactly. But I changed Sanctum to that. The Sanctum, basically his Medolce monster resolves. And I think he grabs Chateau. But on resolution, you know, Scythe is attempting to activate now on a new chain. He does have the Forbidden Droplet, unfortunately. So it is what it is. But he's able to go to Tiramisu. We do have the negate, luckily, with that of Secrets. And he makes Alamode after that, and basically passes after he runs over the Scythe with the Alamode. And basically next turn, I normal summon Boots, make Almirage, grab the Fog Blade, summon Purple, in succession back the Gauntlet, make a Lib, grab Secrets, make Morningstar, and go for Avermax to spin his Alamode, and he can't recover next turn. I also technically had the opportunity to Scythe him again since it was back in the grave, and we did have access to another copy of Secret. So that's how that round went. And so next round I actually played against my friend Adam, who was playing Dogmatica Outlick, and I recorded that match as well as the round 4 feature match. So we'll just go over both of those really quick. Man, I still can't believe this, man. Look how good this card looks, dude. All right, so let's get into these feature matches. So here is game 1. Basically, after my friend had completed his first turn with the Dogmatica Outlick deck, I'm able to establish the Morningstar with World Legacy Key. As you can see, we've got World Legacy Scars up as well. We swing over that Ecclesia for about 800 damage thanks to that 300 boost coming from Morningstar. We're not able to fully clear his field, but let me tell you, getting World Legacy Key established in this situation is absolutely killer. We're able to turn off that Dogmatica Punishment as well as one of his Conquistadors also, and we're basically able to clear his field no problem thanks to Yellow Star and Red Moon. And he does have a Nibiru for us, which I actually wasn't expecting. I mean, I never really do expect it, I guess. I always just love to run headfirst into Nibirus. And right here, this is my friend, unfortunately, making a grave mistake, setting both of those cards, more specifically that Scarlet Sanguine, in the same zone, you know, where a Mekk Knight could appear, not in that column where that Nibiru token was. So we're going to go to game 2. I get started. You know, obviously he's going to make me go first. I get started with a tour guide for Sangan. Go for Cherubini. I'm able to search out that Mekk Knight. We've actually searched the World Chalice instead of the Mekk Knight here, which is actually really nice. We're still able to send boots for Fogblade. The Fogblade does come in kind of handy to stop some of his plays, the Magician's Souls. We're still able, though, to, on our next turn, pick up a copy of Tour Guide here, you know, bring back purple, go for Blue Sky, Al Mirage. I do normal summon that Tour Guide just to get into Al Mirage to help create easier column access. We go into Lib. Lib attempts to activate here. He does think he might have a response. I'm going to try to at least get key off of this Lib, so he does, you know, it would be in his best interest to stop it, but I do have that cup in the graveyard that I was able to discard thanks to that World Legacy Scars. And I know Scars is great for that FTK, but it's also great for providing good discard outlets for cards like Gauntlet and World Legacy World Chalices. But you can see the following turn, after another Nibiru, I'm still able to get Girsu out, and key is established, and that's all she wrote for that match. We're into round 4. We are 3-0 right now, and we're playing against one of our toughest matchups yet, and that's Invoke Dogmatica. Both of us are 3-0. As you can see, his first turn board was very, very oppressive. I do have to do a lot of work to bait out that Mechaba, just so I can take his Winda and crash into his Mechaba with it, because, you know, that's really my only option. I can't take the Mechaba and try to, because then he'll just, you know, boost it up with the Alistair. But next turn, I'm only able to get a purple on field, and you know that Alistair comes down because, you know, he's always got the Alistair. Alistair's always there, and, you know, there's not much we can do. So we go to game 2, where this is a very interesting play line. He ends on Mechaba Pass, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's enough because he's keeping minimal cards on the field for us to work with. Luckily, I do top deck an Imperm, otherwise their hand would have been completely unplayable. I set Succession and attempt to purple. He has a Ghost Ogre. I'm like, all right, that's fine. One hand trap out of the way, and Mechaba's out of the way. How about a Blue Sky? Nope, he says Ash Blossom. All right, what is our next move? Yeah, that Orange Sunset that we play to search off Sangan, we happen to draw that in our opening hand as well. And what is the significance of that? He is a monster that is level 6, which means we can normal summon him, and he has 1,000 or less attack. My opponent wants to read him real quick, wondering why I made the tribute, but we're just going to link him right off for Al Mirage. That's going to give us an arrow to use World Legacy Succession. I'm thinking right now maybe I can get some plays going here. We're going to bring back that Mekk Knight. We're going to go into Morningstar, pitch that last purple in my hand. Now I have two options, essentially. Do I go for Secrets, or do I go for Memory? I do think I definitely misplayed here. Hindsight, I should have grabbed the Secrets, because I know I can try to at least stop the Alistair that's going to come down next turn, and just hope he doesn't have a trap. But I decided to go this route for Red Moon to pop it, to go into the Spectrum Supreme. He's able to easily clear it in the battle phase thanks to Alistair. I top deck a Tour Guide, and he's just going to go ahead and pitch the Fleur to negate and banish, and we just pretty much lose next turn. He puts a Goaties onto the field and grabs a Schism as a backup play, but that's just game outright, unfortunately. Alright, well, that wraps it up for the first week with Mekk Knights in One Deck, 1 month. We've got 3 more weeks to go. That is potentially 4 more locals, because the standard has been to do 6 locals, 4 Saturday main event locals, and then 2 side locals. I might do more this time. I'm not sure. I might take this Tuesday off, just to, you know, take a little break, I guess, and also take more time to just think things out in terms of a build. But yeah, that's it for this week's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did like it, be sure to share it with a friend. I've been working on this video literally for almost 12 hours today, so it would really mean a lot if you guys shared this video around. This is sort of like a new series, obviously, that I started this year. Very proud of how it's been going. I would just love to see it get to more people. So if you guys want to share it with a friend, feel free to do so. Leave a like, leave a comment. And here's also the deck list that we're ending this week on. So for those that want to see it, there it is. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, Winter Kill signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one. And, of course, a huge shout-out goes to our Divine Level channel members here on YouTube, Academic Thick, Zors, and Cadillacs84 again. And as always, thank you guys so much for your continued support.